Okay, so today we're going to take a deep dive into AMD and their big push into the AI world.
Yeah.
We've got a ton of info to unpack here from their Advancing AI analyst meeting from just the other day, October 10th.
hmm
And it looks like they've got some really interesting plans in terms of their strategy, their products, some partnerships they've announced.
Yeah.
Really, really fascinating stuff.
It seems like AMD is really trying to make a statement here. Their ambition is palpable.
Yeah.
They're not just aiming to be another player in the AI space. They want to be the leader, from hardware to software.
That's right. AMD's CEO, Lisa Su, she didn't really mince words. She basically said that they want to power AI from the ground up. And this isn't about like a one-size-fits-all solution either.
Right.
They're talking about CPUs, GPUs, NPUs, and this big emphasis on open standards, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, it's a pretty clear contrast to the, more closed off approach that we see from some of the other big players in the industry.
Right, exactly.
And it'll be interesting to see if this focus on openness and collaboration gives them an edge.
Definitely. So let's get into some of the specifics here. One of the big announcements was the new 5th gen EPYC CPU.
Turin,
Right.
Turin. Well,
AMD has always been known for its chiplet technology, and it seems like they're doubling down on that with Turin.
yeah, for those who aren't familiar with chiplets, how would you describe them? I mean, it's sort of like, building a processor, like you're putting together.
Like Legos.
Yeah, exactly, like Legos. Like you're combining these smaller, more specialized units to create this like way more powerful and efficient whole.
Yeah, and with Turin, we're not just talking about a few more chiplets here and there.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a potential of up to 192 cores on a single chip.
192 cores.
Wild.
That's a lot of cores.
It's a huge amount of processing power, and it's not just about raw power either. It's about efficiency and scalability.
Yeah.
AMD claims that a single Turin server could potentially replace 7 older servers.
Yeah. Think about the potential cost savings for data centers,
Oh, yeah.
not to mention the reduced energy footprint, which is a big deal these days.
Especially with AI workloads. They can be pretty demanding when it comes to power consumption.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, AMD made another pretty bold prediction.
What's that?
They're saying that the data center AI accelerator market is going to hit $500 billion by 2028.
500 billion.
Billion with a B.
Wow.
That's a massive amount of growth, and it's clear that AMD wants to be a major player in this market.
Yeah, it's a huge opportunity, but also a lot of competition, right?
Absolutely. So to compete in this space, you need to bring some serious hardware to the table, and AMD is not shying away from that challenge. We've got to talk about the GPUs.
Yeah, the GPUs.
They're not just building bigger GPUs, they're optimizing them for every single stage of the AI workflow.
Like with the new MI325X GPU, right?
Exactly. And that one is all about inference.
So for those of us who aren't, chip designers or whatever, can you break down what inference is and why it's important for AI?
Sure. So think of it this way. You've trained your AI model, right?
Yeah.
And now it's time to actually put it to work in the real world. So that might involve things like, recognizing images or translating languages or making predictions based on data. That's where inference comes in. You're taking that trained model and you're using it to do something useful. The MI325X is designed to make that process faster, smoother, and more efficient.
So faster results, less waiting around for the AI to catch up.
Exactly. And that translates into a better user experience, whether we're talking about, everyday apps or like, complex scientific simulations.
Right, right. But they didn't stop there, did they? I mean, they had
Oh.
to tease us with...
Of course not. They had to give us a glimpse into the future, right?
Right.
So they also offered a sneak peek at what's coming next, the MI350 and MI400 series GPUs.
And what do they say about those? What can we expect?
Well, they're promising a pretty significant leap in performance. Now, of course, we hear that a lot in the tech world, but given AMD's track record, it's definitely something to pay attention to. We'll have to see how those claims actually hold up once those GPUs are out in the wild, but one thing's for sure, AMD is going all in on high-performance GPUs.
It's a bold move, that's for sure. And they're not just doing this alone. They've partnered with some pretty big names in the industry.
Yeah, they announced some pretty major partnerships. We're talking about Google Cloud, Meta, Microsoft, like the who's who of the tech world.
Just like a who's who of AMD partnerships.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what's really interesting here is, It's not just about the names, it's about the depth of these collaborations. Like Google Cloud is already using those EPYC CPUs. They're excited about this Turin launch.
Yeah.
Meta is going all in on AMD, not just for their data centers, but to power their Llama AI models as well.
Yeah. And we can't forget Microsoft. I mean, Satya Nadella himself has expressed a lot of enthusiasm for what AMD is doing for their entire roadmap. So it seems like AMD is really building an alliance here.
Absolutely.
It's not just about selling chips. It's about working together to kind of push the boundaries of what's possible with AI.
And they're not just working with those big players either. They announced partnerships with some pretty interesting startups too, like Essential AI,
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them.
led by Ashish Vaswani, who, by the way, co-invented Transformers.
Wow.
So, they're not messing around. Imagine the kind of disruption a financial analyst tool powered by that kind of AI could bring to the table, right?
It's exciting to think about, for sure.
Yeah, and then there's Luma AI, who are doing some groundbreaking work with AI-powered content creation. Their technology can actually generate these super realistic videos from just text prompts.
Wow. So we're not just talking about, like, crunching numbers here. We're talking about, like, augmenting human creativity, really pushing the limits of what AI can do.
Absolutely, and I think it really highlights AMD's commitment to building a robust, diverse AI ecosystem.
Yeah, it's clear that these partnerships are a really key part of their strategy. But as we know, hardware is only one piece of the puzzle.
It's true, yeah. The software side is just as crucial. That's where ROCM comes in.
ROCM, ROCM, ROC. It sounds like I don't know, like a new energy drink or something.
Well, it's definitely got that kind of energy behind it, that's for sure.
So fill us in. What is this ROCM thing, and why is it so important for AMD's, grand AI vision?
All right, so ROCM is basically AMD's open source software platform for AI. You can think of it like it's the secret sauce, right? It's the thing that ties all of their hardware, the CPUs, the GPUs, all that stuff. It ties it to the software side of
So
things.
it's like the bridge between all of that processing power and the vast world of AI software tools that developers use every day.
Exactly. You've got it. Think about all the different frameworks and libraries out there like PyTorch, TensorFlow, Hugging Face. ROCM is designed to work with all of them. No drama, no compatibility headaches. It just
Which
works.
is huge for developers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the last thing they want to be doing is like wrestling with software issues when they're trying to, build the next generation of AI.
Oh, absolutely. AMD gets that. They want to make it as easy as possible for developers to just like jump in and start building on their platform.
Yeah.
And a smooth developer experience, it attracts talent, right? It fosters this whole ecosystem of innovation, which ultimately benefits everyone.
Right, right. It's like they're trying to build I don't know, a really awesome playground for AI developers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. A playground where everyone's invited. And that ties into another really interesting part of AMD's strategy. They're not just focused on data centers, they want to bring AI to like everyone.
Yeah, we touched on those Ryzen AI PRO processors earlier,
Right, and they've also got those new Strix Pro laptops that are coming out.
which are like seriously powerful machines.
Oh yeah, we're talking up to 50 TOPS of AI computing power, and it's all in a laptop that you can like take with you anywhere.
So it's not just about, browsing the web or whatever. You can do some serious AI work on these things.
Absolutely. Real-time translation, advanced video, and image editing. You could even have your own personalized AI assistant right there on your laptop.
It's like having a portable AI studio in your backpack.
Exactly. And AMD's not just thinking about raw power here, they're thinking about the whole user experience.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, they're working really closely with Microsoft to make sure that these AI capabilities are like seamlessly integrated into Windows.
Like we're talking about things like enhanced search, being able to find anything on your computer instantly.
Exactly. Even if you can't remember the name of the file or where you saved it, and don't even get me started on that recall feature.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
It's like, okay, imagine you're trying to remember something you saw on your computer like weeks ago.
Right.
This thing, it's like a search engine for your memory. Except instead of searching the web, it's searching your own personal digital history. It can pull up anything you've seen or heard on your PC.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit scary, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely some privacy concerns there, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, with all this AI processing happening, on our devices, are we just handing over even more of our data to these tech companies?
Right, and it's a valid concern, but one of the things that AMD has been emphasizing is that with their approach, a lot of this AI processing is happening locally on your device.
So you're not sending your data up to the cloud.
Exactly. It's all happening right there on your laptop, which does add that extra layer of like privacy and security.
So you get the power and the convenience of AI, but with the peace of mind knowing that your data is still yours.
Precisely. And this whole focus on on-device AI isn't just limited to laptops either.
Yeah.
AMD wants to bring it to everything. Smartphones, tablets, you name it. It's like they're trying to blur the lines between like personal computing and AI.
It's a really interesting vision for the future.
It is, but to actually pull this off, they need more than just, powerful chips and fancy software. They need a whole ecosystem of partners and developers who are all on board with this vision.
Right, right. It's about building a community, not just a product.
Exactly. And that's something that AMD seems to understand, They're not just building chips, they're building relationships.
It's like they're building an army, but instead of soldiers, it's like
Right.
developers and partners, all armed with AMD tech and ready to take on the world.
Yeah, it's a good analogy. And this army, it's not just the big tech giants, right?
Right.
AMD is putting a lot of effort into bringing in those independent software vendors, the startups, even the open source communities, giving them the tools and the resources they need to kind of make their own mark on the AI world.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see because it's like they're creating this whole, I don't know, this thriving ecosystem around their hardware and their software. And it's like, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly. Everyone benefits in the end.
But let's bring it back down to earth for a second.
Yeah.
For those of us who aren't, AI engineers or whatever, how does this actually translate into real world stuff? Why should the average person listening to this be excited about all this AMD stuff?
Well, think about it this way. Imagine a world where your laptop isn't just a laptop, right?
Okay.
It's like your own personal AI assistant, anticipating your needs, automating tasks, even helping you be more creative. And it's not just about, making our lives easier. Imagine what this could mean for healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Doctors using AI to diagnose diseases earlier, develop better treatments, really personalize that whole healthcare experience.
Right.
Or education, right? Teachers using AI to create more engaging learning experiences for their students, really adapt to each student's individual needs.
So it's about making AI more accessible, more useful, more beneficial for everyone.
Exactly. That's the whole idea, democratizing access to this incredibly powerful technology.
It's a big vision. And who knows, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but you got to give them credit for trying.
It's definitely a bold move, and it'll be really interesting to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I mean, one thing's for sure, AMD is definitely shaking things up in the tech world, and they're all in bet on AI. That's definitely something we'll be keeping a close eye on.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating case study, in disruption and innovation, challenging the status quo, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. It's an exciting time to be following this stuff.
It really is. Well, that about wraps up our deep dive into AMD and their AI ambitions. We've covered a lot of ground today, from their new hardware and software to their partnerships and, of course, their grand vision for the future of AI.
We've seen how they're tackling not just the technical challenges, but also, the bigger questions about accessibility, about ethics, about the impact that AI is going to have on society as a whole.
And hopefully we've given you a lot to think about. What will you do with this knowledge? How will you contribute to the future of AI?
It's a question we should all be asking ourselves.
It really is. But for now, we'll leave you with that thought. This has been another deep dive, and as always, we'll be back soon to dive into something else.
Always diving, always exploring. That's what we do.
Exactly.
Wow.
Until next time.